All right, what's going on, everybody? So Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach just finished, and oh my lord, what a fight! And also, the co-main event was such a good fight also, so I'm going to be going through both of the fights and breaking them down. But real quick, before I get into the video, 91% of you guys aren't subscribed, so if you like boxing, influencer boxing, UFC content, I post 3 to 4 times a week on this channel at least, so make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you. Alright, so before we get to the main event, I really want to talk about the co-main event, and that was Valenzuela versus Russell. Now, this fight did not go how I expected because Valenzuela against Pitbull Cruz put on one of the best performances I've seen in counterpunching, because Pitbull Cruz is such a hard fighter to deal with all of his pressure. And this was very similar. It was pressure the entire time, but Russell was mixing it up the entire fight. He won round 1 off of input alone, and the entire fight, he swept him like a legitimate sweep. You could have maybe give Valenzuela 1 round max. That was a masterclass performance by Russell. He mixed in body work. Let's see, I gotta go through my notes because it's so late. I apologize. But just throwing combination more. Like Valenzuela would put in some really sharp counter punches, but he wouldn't follow up. And he went throwing combination. Russell was throwing in combination the entire fight, almost threw 1,000 punches in the fight, which is wild. And man, I was very impressed by his performance. The way he was able to mix his shots up and be unpredictable, it was a very good performance. Man, we're probably going to see the Valenzuela versus Pitbull match next, a rematch next, because, man, Pitbull might have some blueprints to beat him now, because the thing with Pitbull is he probably is my favorite boxer. He's one of them at least, but he doesn't really mix it up. He really just hooks to the body, hooks to the head, but he really just doesn't stop. But Russell, it was very similar, but he mixed up his punches going downstairs, upstairs with straight punches, uppercuts, everything under the tree. So very impressive performance by Russell. He definitely made a fan out of me. I wasn't even familiar with him in this game before this fight, so I was predicting that Valenzuela was just going to beat him by points, but he swept Valenzuela the entire fight. What a masterclass performance by Russell. And he's swinging at the end. What a fucking performance. What a fucking performance. Incredible, bro. What an incredible performance. Alright, now the main event, Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. Now we're talking about fights that you didn't expect. What an amazing fight. Amazing. So the first 2 rounds, they were just finding each other out, very similar to how Gervonta's fights have been in the past. Then Tank and Roach started letting their hands go. Gervonta started landing straight lefts to the body and upstairs to Roach, and Roach kept backing Gervonta into a corner, but Gervonta did a very good job of circling out and not getting caught in the corner. Then they started chirping back and forth, which was firing me up. It wasn't the most output at this point in the fight, but they were talking a lot of trash during the entire fight. Then Tank started putting pressure in round 6, really starting to put in pressure more than I've seen in the past from him. But in round 7, Roach started having moments, and he caught Tank flush with a straight right hand to seem to even hurt him a little bit, have him stumbling back. And this became a factor later and later on to the fight. And then Roach continues to outland Tank in round 8 and kept landing that straight right hand that was just nasty, just kept landing on Tank. He couldn't get out of the way of it because it was so unpredictable when he was mixing in with the left hook to the body, and he had body work in general. Then, in round 9, it was a firefight. They were both landing and both just letting their hands go. It became a very scrappy, wild fight. And then there was a very weird situation where Gervonta took a knee, which should have been a knockdown because that's just boxing rules. But for some reason, the ref gave him a pass or something like that. And Gervonta was saying that something got into his eye and he wanted his corner to wipe it out, which, if that even is the case, it should still be a knockdown because he conceded to take a break and get his eye wiped. So this is when things get a little bit interesting with the scorecards, because it was a majority draw, which we'll get to, and they didn't count the knockdown. So what if they did? Then Roach wins round 10 and debatably 11-2. They're both very close rounds, but I do potentially give those rounds to Roach. And he could have even won the last one, but that one was even more close. they were just firing it out, just scrapping it out, which I give respect to both of them for, especially Tank, because he could have just let the fight slip away from him, and he really didn't want to. So, yeah, very interesting. It was very close. I see it being a draw without the knockdown. The knockdown really makes it interesting because Gervonta controlled those middle rounds, and obviously he takes the beginning of the fight off most of the time because he's figuring out his opponent. That's very normal for Gervonta Davis if he watches fights, but man, I really think that Roach might have pulled away with it. And if there was a score of a knockdown, they actually might have gave it to him because they gave it a draw. The first judge gave it to Tank, and then the last two gave it a draw. So, very interesting, man. I really wonder what could have happened if they counted as a knockdown. I wonder if they would have robbed him. But, man, they're going to have to run the rematch back now. And it seems like Roach has Tank's number more than most people do. Pitbull and Tank's fight was very close too. But this is probably even closer because Tank pulled away with the Pitbull fight in the end of the fight. And Roach pulled away with the fight in this fight. So, man, they're probably going to have to run it back, which I'm for. By the way, this was an incredible fight. A lot of people were counting out Roach, including me, just because how good Gervonta Davis is. But turns out Roach is very, very good too. He's at Gervonta's level, and we see that now. So I say run it back, hopefully soon, but we really never know with that. This was actually the first time Roach was at 135 since 2014, and he looked very good. So he didn't seem weight drained. His power was still there, and he was still eating Tank's punches very well. So, incredible fight. Slightly controversial, but I think a draw is okay. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't call it a robbery, because a robbery is when it's, like, ridiculous. You know what I mean? Wow. Ooh-wee. Oh, holy shit, man. What an amazing co-main event and main event. To be honest, the rest of the fights on the card were a bit disappointing, and they were dragging, like, probably more clinches than KSI and Tommy Fury in that other fight. But, yeah, man, it was overall very good fights. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any more posts. I'm out here recording at 1:20 in the morning, so subscribe. I'll be grinding out for y'all. Yeah, man, let me know what you guys thought about this fight. Let me know if you think it was a robbery, if that's your opinion. Obviously, you're entitled to your own opinion. We can agree or disagree. There's no problem with that at all. Thank you guys for listening to me up like usual. I'm going to be going to bed. Yeah, man, boxing is so back. And Fight Night was pretty good too. Shout out Manel Cap doing it for Portugal. Might do a YouTube short based on the reaction of that stoppage. Let me know if you thought it was an early stoppage. I know it's not about boxing, but I guess I'm just yapping. Thank you guys for listening to me yap like usual. God bless every single one of you. And peace out. I'm a sin, huh? I'm a sin, huh? I'm a sin, huh? I'm a sin, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Lord, forgive me for what I'ma do. You can't even please her, I gotta go prove. I'm finna go see her, I'm making a move. Finna go deeper, she feeling the groove, huh? Yeah, very funny, cause the boys that she picking are really astute. The bitches be basic, it really ain't news. People are soft and they finna get true. Worry about me and I steady improve. She low could be sleeping, I'm really that dude. Got this man geeking and give me a boost. Rubber, I'm ticking, I'm rapping like Zeus. If he come pull up, he getting a two. Hope he don't finally losing the two. Hope he don't rubble me, need a masseuse. Shout out to Jared, he finna get juice.